Want to speak real Spanish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SpanishPod101.com.
Hi everyone, this is Rosa, and today I'll be teaching you 15 ways to remember words, and these ways were submitted by fans. So let's start! A menudo veo vídeos en la televisión o YouTube que están diseñados para los niños pequeños. I often watch TV or YouTube videos that are designed for young children. Yeah, I think it's a really good way. Also when I want to learn a new language, I watch some cartoons because they are always easier, and I think that really helps. Aprendo sobre las raíces de las palabras y cómo las diferentes palabras se relacionan entre sí. I learn about the roots of words and how different words are related to each other. Yeah, I think it might make easier if you know why the words are formed like that. So if you know that, you can then know how to form the words, and everything gets easier. Asocio nuevas palabras con historias, juegos o películas. I associate new words with stories, games or movies. It's always a good way to remember, to associate things, like these mnemotechnical, strategies. For example, to remember kanji in Japanese, there are some books that relate each ideogram with a kind of story, so then you remember the meaning and everything, and it's quite useful. It works. Asocio nuevas palabras con palabras que suenan similares en mi idioma natal. I associate new words with words that sound similar in my native language. Well, this might work for some languages, but I don't know if this works for all of them. For example, Spanish and English, I think that would work. Asocio palabras con dibujos, fotos y escenas divertidas. I associate words with drawings, pictures, and funny scenes. So yeah, I think this is more appropriate for what I said before, like the kanji. Some of them you can kind of infer what they are, what they mean. If you have a drawing, they are similar to what they mean, so I guess that. Clasifico nuevas palabras con otras palabras relacionadas que ya conozco. I categorize new words with other related words that I already know. Yeah, I think it makes it easier if you can kind of classify and order things. Escucho canciones y me aprendo las letras. I listen to songs and memorize the lyrics. I think this is a really good way. Also, it's a way that you enjoy. You like this, to listen to these songs and everything, so I think it comes to you easier. You're not doing that much of an effort maybe, because you're having fun. Hablo tan a menudo como sea posible con los nativos del idioma. I speak as often as possible with native speakers. Yeah, I think this is the best thing you can do. I mean, you can read as many books as you want and listen to films or songs or everything, but to really learn a language, you need to speak it with native people. Leyendo lo más posible, en especial el periódico, me ayuda a recordar palabras. Reading as much as possible, especially the newspaper, helps me to remember words. If you see the same word used a lot of times, you get to remember that more easily than if you just have a list of words and try to memorize every of them. And also you are seeing these words in a context, so you know how to use them and how they are used by the people. So it's a good way. Soy persistente en la práctica diaria hablando con mi familia o con mis perros, a pesar de que no me entienden. I am persistent in practicing every day by talking to my family or my dogs, even though they don't understand me. Why not? Well, you can also talk to yourself, right? But yeah, it's very important to be constant. I think it's the most important point. You have to be constant to learn a language. You just cannot study it for a week and then, okay, the next month I will study a bit more. You have to be constant. Trato de usar el lenguaje de forma cotidiana en el contexto de la vida cotidiana. I try to use the language routinely in the context of daily life. It's important to try to use it as much as you can, I guess. Because sometimes you have to adapt the language depending on their situation, depending on who you are talking to. So it's important to know how you really use the language in your daily life, how it changes. like not learning just from some book, but learning it in like practicing in your day-to-day life. Yo uso la repetición, leyendo, escribiendo y hablando las palabras una y otra vez. I use repetition, reading, writing, and speaking words over and over again. I used to do that. The only problem is that I normally forget like pretty quickly after that, but well, maybe there are some people that... Well, I guess if you do that in a constant way, like it's not like you repeat these words one day and then don't do that after that. Maybe if you go back to these words, like it can help you. I think it can be a good way then. Yo digo palabras en voz alta para poder realmente escucharlas. I say words out loud so that I can actually hear them. It's very important because sometimes we don't say them out loud and then we are kind of afraid to pronounce it. We don't really know how to do it, so it's nice to know. Even if you can, like record yourself with a mic or something, so you can hear yourself talking and you can know like whether you are pronouncing it right or not. Yo intento pensar en español para que se incorpore naturalmente a mi proceso de pensamiento. I try to think in Spanish so it becomes natural to my thought process. Well, it's fine. It's like you're using Spanish during your day, so like if you're thinking in Spanish, you are also thinking in ways you can form new sentences and use the words you learned. So yeah, I think it's a good way. Like if you don't have anyone to talk to in Spanish, it can also be nice to try to like talk to yourself and make your sentences. Usar tarjetas, use flashcards. I have like some apps in my mobile phone, so especially to learn Japanese, it's really helpful. Like they show you new words and the translation. Then you get these flashcards repeated, and depending on whether you are answering them right or not, like they show you these cards more often or not. So yeah, I think it really helps to memorize words. So this is the end of today's 15 ways to remember words submitted by fans. I hope you liked it. If you have any other ways to memorize words, please tell us. And thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Bye!